disagree because gender.
Case of cultism.
Oh my God, I disagree because gender doesn't apply to all species.
Nathan, I'm going to ask you one last question, right? In the historical period in which sex and gender were used interchangeably, do you think that when talking about animals or non-human organisms, at any point, people ever said things like the animal's gender, the insect's gender, or whatever? Do you think that ever happened? What do you think?
I don't know.
Okay, it did happen, Nathan. And the reason why it happened is because historically, sex and gender have been the exact same thing.
Okay, sure. I want you to pull up any scientific book and show me where they was defined it. Which I guess show me where they was describing a male or a female of a different species, and they was using the term as this is the woman or this is the man within this species. Show me that.
I'd have to have time because obviously I didn't know we get.
Because obviously you're not gonna find it because there's like you're not gonna find. Nah, this is the Lulu part right there.
No, it's not. This
is the Lulu part.
No, Nathan, that's not correct because again, like I said, we can look it up, right?
This dog is a man. Oh yeah, this dog is a woman.
Okay, so Nathan, so like once again you're dodging, right? So you just wait. Nathan, listen to yourself. Wait, Dr. Jazz, 1 second. Nathan, listen to yourself and listen to what you just said, right? I just said that historically sex and gender were used interchangeably, right?
I know. Yeah.
Now, you agree that historically this was the case. Then in order to prove or disprove that, I'll find you a scientific book or anything from that time period or whatever says this dog is a man. What you're doing is that you're trying to reinsert your modern redefinition of gender, right? But I already established that we are not talking about the time period where people now start saying that, gender is socially constructed, let's separate it from sex. We're talking
about... I want you to show me.
Hang on, let me finish.
Yes.
Nathan, not a single person who saw sex and gender as interchangeable would ever, use the socially constructed definition of gender. That's my point. So anybody who's trying to say this dog is a man is somebody who also consequently believes that man is a type of gender and gender is socially constructed. That's my point. So you asking that question is nonsensical.
What the fuck did you do? You're just making up shit, man. You're just making up shit. Anyway, let me respond to that. So Sugar Belly said that. Sugar Belly said, "Come on, Sugar Belly, I just heard you. You just had your time to run your suck muscles. Look, Sugar Belly, you said this. The terms were interchangeable, male and man, right? Which is the gender, man, right? I don't know. You know what? I don't even know what you mean. What was the terms they would use back then for gender? Girl, boy, woman, man. No. This is what they would talk about. Hey, this is what it is to be a man, and these are the roles on what it is to be a man, right? Blah, blah, blah. These are all the social construction on what it is based on what a man was. And they would say this, a man is an adult male. A woman is an adult female. A girl is a young female. A boy is a young male. And this is how they refer to gender and sex as the same. And you're saying back then they used it interchangeably. And I was explaining to you that no, not in all cases, because you can't find a book scientifically where they were using gender and sex as the same fucking thing, because they're obviously fucking different. That's the point I was pointing out to you. But you so in the Lulu land and you want to just try to defeat me with some bogus ass answer, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Now I'm agreeing with you. When they were referring to a man, they was referring to a male. When they were referring to, but this is all human constructs. It still applies to what it is to be a human. Now we obviously agree within humans, there are masculine humans and feminine humans, right? And we all know that as time passed, we get better with our definitions. That's why at one point in time, black people was considered subhuman. And white people was considered the standard of what it is to be human. But as time went by, We got better with our definitions. And that's what we see the same thing as well, too. So this modernist take, Sugar Belly, we passed that. We have postmodernism. There's no more hard categories. There's no more hard categories. What it is to be a woman, what it is to be a woman that's broken fucking down. Because your little black scrawny ass wouldn't be on this app if we were back in those days when a woman was supposed to be in the kitchen cooking and just having kids. But postmodernism broke it down. Now you feel you can be on the same level as men. So if that's the case, so if we can open up, and I'm just on the land right here, so if we could open up the gates for women to feel just as much as what it is to be a man, then we should open up the gates on women transitioning into being a fucking man.
The hill that I am ready to die on is that subscription to this transgender belief goes hand in hand with hatred of women. Like it's always like clockwork. Misogynistic men love trans delusion. They love it because they feel, right, that masculine societal roles are meant to be the exclusive property of men, and they resent the fact that women also participate in these roles. And so to get back at women for not meekly staying in the kitchen and meekly being subservient to them, right, they relish in the idea of men erasing the category of women and dictating to women what a woman is. And it always jumps out in conversation. Always. This argument you're making about black people is one of the most nonsensical arguments out there. White people said, oh, black people are not really human beings. Okay. But when it was time to look for who to fuck, they didn't have a problem fucking those non-human beings. When it was time to look for who to breastfeed your baby, they didn't have a problem giving the non-human being their baby, their baby to breastfeed. Somehow, white people always magically knew that black people were human beings when it was time to do human being things with black people. But somehow, magically, because white people said so, oh, black people were not human beings. And like, you know, what I find so crazy about this argument is that it is such a white supremacist argument. It is such a white supremacist argument. You're effectively arguing that the say-so of white people reshapes reality. That's what you're arguing. You're arguing that because white people said black people are not human beings, congratulations, they're not human beings. Because white people are your God. It's fucking stupid.
Ole, can I say something right quick?
Absolutely. Take your time, bro.
Fast. No, I'm gonna be fast. I just want to say this, and I'll be fast. Jacob Belly, you strawman me. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that these categories are defined by humans. Depending on who the humans is, depends on how they want to define it. You are a human. You're defining it, and you're trying to say that no. What I'm doing is just living in reality. Look, fucking 400 years ago, that was reality. They had science based on it. They had articles based on it. It was reality. If you were living in those times, you would have been like me, the person who had the odd belief that a fucking man can transition into a woman. You would have been like that. If you were to listen, just how you talking right now, black people are humans. They would have been looking at you like just how stupid are you looking at me? Like I'm talking stupid. They'd be looking at you just the same too. In a couple years, you'll see. You and your dumbass ideology, it is coming down, Sugar Belly, and we putting your black ass back in the kitchen. Go ahead, Ole.
Thank you. I've been listening to you guys at work. I'll be quick. Nathan, I've heard you say this argument a few times, right? But keep in mind, right, even at times where science supported these racist ideologies, there were a minority of people who didn't believe in them. And now, just because the current power structure, for whatever reasons, right, scientifically validates the current view you're holding, right, that doesn't mean it's right, though. Because clearly, science has been wrong, the majority has been wrong, so they could be wrong now, right? Nathan?
Yeah.
Like just because the words change doesn't mean the newest, manifestation of the word is right. One side of leg.
Correct.
I was thinking of paintball.
One side of leg, but there's a couple of things. Please, Chicago's.
So I'm after Jacobus.
Yeah, so after me, King. I'm after Nate.
So, look, Sugar Belly, you were doing so well. You was cooking this nigga like straight Gordon Ramsay, 5-star Michelin cook, and then you threw that all away. You literally threw the entire table and the good shit you just cooked. You threw it all away. You had coconut oil. You was putting all that coconut oil. It was great, and then you threw it away because half of what Nathan said obviously was bullshit. You cleared him on that, but the other half was brilliant. And I gotta give it to Nathan. Nathan, I gotta give it to you. Because you are absolutely describing the consequences of postmodernism. You're actually describing the fall away from true science also. But we're not gonna get into that. That's a different topic. But Nathan, you 1000% clearly laid out the consequences of postmodernism, which feminism had adopted, right? And I think, Sugar Belly, you can't just call everybody a misogynist as a way to try to skirt that reality. Like I said, you had a brilliant. I love the way you argue, but your motivations for arguing, I think, are, they're unfortunate because you're arguing from trying to protect feminism when feminism was part of instituting this new world that we have. The very thing you're berating.
Talk about it in the historical context, no?
I agree with Cool.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
Benny Adam, would you have had a problem with October 7th had it been done with another group other than Hamas? Other than in Islam?
I didn't say I had a problem with it.
Yeah, but would you say it was an act of terrorism?
Benny Adam, can you explain why you support?
I mean, let's not deny this. The PFLP and the PLO and a lot of various, Palestinian resistance groups that were secular, pan-Arabist, or socialist, or even communist, they committed acts of terrorism. There's no doubt about that.
Okay. Then why support them and not Hamas?
Because of ideological reasons.
Well, you can support the military.